All right, guys, welcome back. So, today's episode, we're going to talk about what I find myself thinking about all the time. Am I posting enough? Am I posting too much, too little? So, this episode's actually titled, You're Not Posting Too Little, You're Posting Without Intention. So, I think about this many different ways that when I'm doing what I'm doing daily, I want to put a social post out there. I want to put something out there about my family. I want to put something out there that shows that I'm a real person. I want to put something out there about business. I want to give, and then at some point I need to make an ask, right? So an ask, by the way, when you're doing these things, you're so caught up in it that sometimes you're forgetting that actually what you're trying to do is the most important. People think that they need to post more often, and actually, it's not that you do it more often, but you have to have the intention behind the post. So you have to plan it out. Put it on a calendar. So if I have a calendar up here and on my calendar, I'm going to have, personal post, a business post. I'm going to have something on there showing something about my industry. I'm going to maybe do a current event. I'm going to do something along those lines. Sometimes when you actually put it on a calendar, you can actually see like, oh gosh, I'm not doing too much or too little. I just need to spread it out a little bit, and I need to have some intention to it. So today's episode is going to be primarily about the intention behind your posting, because if it was true that you're posting too little or too much, you're going to start to think, am I winning? Am I not winning? And you're going to get really tired really quick. And you're not going to be tired because you're inconsistent. We've talked about inconsistency, right? And be your authentic self. You're going to get tired because nothing that you're doing currently feels like it's compounding fast enough. If you guys haven't watched my show before, welcome back. This is Elevate with Enbody. I'm your host, Tim Enbody. And today I want to really get deep about what people are doing at work with their posting, what they're trying to accomplish. Are they showing up? And quietly asking themselves is a very, very important question. Why doesn't it feel like this is working? Why am I doing this every day and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere? So segment one, we're going to talk about the real problem behind this. Most people think that their issue is consistency. We've talked about it to nauseam. It's not. The real problem is intention. You don't have a content problem. You have a clarity problem. So when we talk about consistency, which we have in previous episodes, I will say that is a problem. I'm going to put it out there. It's a problem when you don't show up often enough that people can count on you as being somebody that they go to for information. So yes, I want to put that little tag on there with consistency. I don't want to say it's not. I just want to say it is with a caveat. Okay. Your clarity and your intention, though, is when you start to feel really, really frustrated, because if you're not clear, that also can cause a problem. So you're posting without intention. And if you're posting without intention, you don't build the momentum, and it starts to feel like burnout. And we talked about burnout before, right? Segment two, why most content goes nowhere. Now, this happens to me all the time. Here's what I see over and over again. People post today, and it has nothing to do with what they're even posting about. It's like random. It's like a picture of a car on the highway. Okay, what's that about? Is it because it was a cool car? Was there an accident? Sometimes people get caught up going, "Okay, I'm a content creator. I just need to, I just need to make a post today." Cheese, and then put something flashy with it. But what's your intention? Are you trying to talk to somebody? Are you trying to get a message out? If there's no intention, there's no follow through. If there's no follow through, there's no direction. There's no signal. That's not a strategy. What I want to talk to you guys about more today in this episode is going to be the strategy with your intention. Don't panic. Don't panic. I'm not trying to get you guys freaked out. I'm trying to say all these things come into play. If you're doing all these things and you're getting nothing, then we can talk about, I don't want to say panic, but we can actually start to break it down. Because when you dress it all up, it's still part of your productivity, right? And here's the uncomfortable truth, which I like to drop on everybody. If your content doesn't know where it's going, neither does your audience, right? Does that make sense? So if you're just putting stuff out there randomly, you don't know what your goal is for it at all. How is your audience supposed to follow along with that? Okay, so segment three, let's talk about some of your stories, how to reposition these. Let's talk about Instagram stories for a second, because most people treat them like a filler. I know I do sometimes. I mean, when Chaz was first hired, I was like, hey, Chaz, I really like these positive quotes. Just keep posting these. And he was doing it because he was new and he hadn't really found his voice yet. And then at some point, before he even said something to me, being a good sport, my wife's like, what's the point of all these quotes? I mean, you're having them pull them out of like, hey, you lift up my coffee cup and there was a quote. Here, open up my folder, there's a quote. Open up this drawer, there's a quote. But what's the intention of it? You're just trying to be positive, which is cool. But if that's not your intention, it's confusing. And then eventually Chaz is like, yeah, I thought it was weird that you had me doing that every day for the first like 3 weeks that I was here. And what it was a filler. I mean, I like the positivity. I'm a big book reader. I like to fill my head with that stuff. But so I think I liked it. I enjoyed it as a person. But what I really was doing was trying to catch up on my social. I was trying to get my social caught up with posts. And really what I was doing is I was fooling myself. It was a filler. It simply was a filler. They're not laboratory test, right? We want to do this with intentions. So there's where some people actually respond to some of these posts too. This is where trust starts to form. Before anyone ever buys from you, your Instagram stories, if you do them with intention and properly, you'll actually start to get something powerful out of it. Same thing with your Facebook posts, your TikTok posts. TikTok, maybe audience warms up to you, that you start to stay top of mind because you have the intention to go along with the stories. So if you're posting often, are you posting with intention? Are you posting to give data? Are you putting ask out there? Putting an ask out there is okay, right? But if you're not doing it with intention, then you can't go, oh, man, the social media stuff is for the birds. Well, it is in so many ways, because I think at the end of the day, a lot of us would rather be in our offices writing business, right? I talk about being a content creator or maybe being an editor of your content. But the reality of it is you're just trying to show other people your expertise. And if you show up with consistency and you don't skip out on some of the basics, then your stories, your posts, your reels, they all start to kind of come together. So don't skip it, do it all, but make sure there's a feedback loop. Make sure you're bringing this stuff all back in, because once again, if you're just putting it out there, like random post, I'm casting, right? Post, then you're like, oh my gosh, Chaz, we've made how many posts this week? And I haven't got one DM. Well, what was my intention? Was that what I was going for? Did I have a hook? Did I get anybody past 3 to 5 seconds of my post? Did they have to listen to a full minute of me ramble before they actually got to something that actually had any value to it? So we'll get into that stuff later, but I want to talk about how it's controlled and how you can actually create the conversational piece with this. And I think this is where you don't want to rush. So slow down. Even start over in your head if you have to, because here's where a lot of people get lost. If you're posting just to stay consistent, you're not really building a brand. You're feeding an algorithm potentially, but with no brand. It doesn't care if you're burnt out. Consistency and intention with your post and that repetition is where the magic starts to happen. Think of it this way. You're putting a pot on the stove and you turn up the boil and you're sitting there just waiting before you put the noodles in. And that's my intention. And I'm trying to get this going, and I have the repetition. It's coming through, right? And all of a sudden it starts to boil. It starts to flitter a little bit. It starts to get really hot. That's when things start to get exciting, right? That's when you get to put the noodles in. That's when you're getting closer to eating. So your efforts are not wasted. Keep that in mind. Segment 5, the real reason people quit. So I run into this often. I mean, so we have a sales thing that we do. It's called the Forge, that we bring back to our salespeople. We do it every Thursday. And there's this constant, am I doing the right thing? Should I be logging in? I've made a couple posts. I don't see anything really happening. And then somebody else comes back and says, hey, I made a post and I got boom. I got invited to a podcast. I'm on the show. I'm doing this. This new realtor reached out to me. I struck a chord. So you see that mix, right? When is it okay to quit? Should you quit? Most people don't quit because they're lazy. They quit because they're confused. They copy what worked for somebody else, possibly, but they don't realize what that person put into it before. They follow the advice that sounds good. They wait for results that were never designed to actually even show up. And when nothing happens, what do? They start blaming themselves. They're not bad at this, right? You just never really been taught how to think of yourself in this position and with what you're doing. So let's talk about segment 5. Why this podcast even exists, actually. And this isn't a pitch. I didn't start this podcast to chase any attention, which is funny, right? Because I'm up here in front of you guys right now talking, or I'm on Apple, or I'm on Spotify, wherever you're listening to this. I started because I kept seeing capable people lose confidence. And I'll be honest, after 20 plus years in the mortgage business, as well as in sales and marketing, there's so many really good, talented people out there. And I see it in real estate as well. I had a conversation, actually, I'll share this with you. I won't drop names, but I had a conversation with a realtor. I think was a Friday night. It was Friday night. And we connected them. Hey, I hope you had a great 2025. I hope you're ready to crush 2026. And she came back and said, thank you so much, Tim. I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be doing this much longer. My husband and I are starting to have conversations about boom, boom, and boom. And if it's really meant to be. And I had success 4 or 5 years ago, but it's just not kind of coming through. Now, I could have opened up a door and went down a whole bunch of paths, right? I just decided to listen. I'm like, well, why do you say that? Well, the market. Okay. Why do you say that? Well, because there's not enough inventory, right? We all know this. This person does not lack talent. I'd actually say this person is really good at what they do from my experience and what I've seen. And I've seen some of the celebrations, but they're starting to lose confidence because they don't get to have that consistent repetition of doing what they do and doing what they love enough to cash the checks. Because it's not always easy to market. Some of us are doing things that we're new at. Some of us maybe work for companies where they fed us leads. Nobody actually slowed things down for us. We just have to dig in deeper. And a lot of people have gotten out of the business. So there's a lot of business to be had by those people that got out, right? New relationships. But why those things actually work is because we're out there going after them. You have to let people know what you do. And by the way, you guys don't have to agree with me, right? But you need to stop wasting effort on the woe is me's. I talked about on one of the previous episodes about Eeyore and wanting to run that donkey over if I see him on the side of the road. It happens to all of us, right? It happens to all of us. Don't quit if you're good at something and you enjoy it, but you may need to take a step back and quit doing some of the stuff that you're doing that's wasting your effort. Your efforts potentially are being wasted because you have a broker or a manager who says, hey, don't forget Monday mornings, it's a donut drop-off day. Grab your race sheets and drop out those donuts. Okay, that worked, 50 years ago? Thank you. Check, how long you been in the business or what book did you just read? You have to stay up. You have to have plenty of teachers out there that are willing to bring you back up to speed. So segment 7, we're going to start to wrap this up. And this, I think, brings it all together. The line that gets shared, but the post that is never seen. The line that gets shared, but maybe it's a post that's never seen. So post so you're understood, because attention fades. Understanding compounds. So if this episode hit in any way, I hope I touched a nerve actually, it's because you're probably doing this right now. You've probably been more than enough on this side without getting enough back. In the next episode, we're going to go a little bit deeper and we're going to talk about your audience, the ones that never comment. They never like. They don't ever say a word. And they might be the most important people that you're missing. Until next time, keep elevating your business and your brand.